Welcome, welcome from, well, it's sunny California, but unfortunately, where I am today, there are fires. Oh, let's see if I can, it's so bright. I think, I'm sorry, it's so bright out here. There's fires and there's a lot of ash, and you kind of see it's like, I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's super overcast, and it's kind of making my eyes water, actually. So I'm not going to stay out in this too long, but just wanted to say hello there. Sitting on not a curb, but sitting outside. Was kind of out and about, just stopped to do our Take 5 today. And hi, Doug, nice to see you. So we got 5 questions that we're going to get through today based on the questions that you guys have been asking us. If you are here, I don't know if you're here unless you say something. Once you say something, I can see there's people here, but I can't see who or how many or whatever. So my arm's going to get tired. This car is driving by. It's that woman talking to herself. So yeah, we're going to do your Take 5 questions today. These are questions, so as you join, if you're not in the Facebook group, and oh, Doug, don't forget to share. If you're not in the Facebook group, why? You should be in the Facebook group. When you join the Facebook group, you can ask a question there. So we are getting these questions from people who join the Facebook group, and then also you can join the mailing list here as well. So yay, thank you. So you can join the mailing list, and in there, people ask questions as well. So, sorry, my eyes are really watering. So these are questions that we have garnered from people that have submitted them that way. So we had our first workshop yesterday. So fun. It was so fun. We had so much fun. It's so great. And then, Doug, do I talk about the coffee cup? Oh, it's very exciting. So I'll talk about it once I get to A-OK from Doug. So we just had a really great day yesterday. Super fun and exciting. And so we are back at it today with Take 5. Being in Hollywood Gatekeepers, we give away a lot of free information. Join the Facebook group, join the mailing list. We give away a lot of information. Ooh, a sure from Doug. And then if you're on Instagram, follow us at Screen Readers on Instagram. I feel strange not letting you see my eyes, even though they're watering. You got to put yourself out there, which has been, that's a whole nother topic that we should do someday. Because this has been really interesting, putting myself out there this way. But anywho, hi, Cindy. So if you're on Instagram, follow us at Screen Readers. We do, so we have a couple ways you can be involved, which is the free Facebook group. We're starting a podcast, which will be launching in the next month or so. And we have just a ton of free stuff. On the mailing list, we give you things. And then we do these free workshops. We have one on Saturday, and then we have one next Wednesday, and then we have one the following Saturday. So we'll put the link here to a page that has all the dates where you can choose a date and sign up. So we give away all this free content. Stay for the workshop because we tell you exactly what you need to know as a reader. And then we also have a paid course. So in the paid course, we do all kinds of different things. But one of the things that we do is have guests. And we were really fortunate a couple of weeks ago that we had this spectacular guest. Actually, I'm going to make it a bit mysterious. So we had a really wonderful guest, and he came in and he's won a couple of Oscars, and he just was amazing. He told really great stories. He just was fantastic. And so we sent him a gift. Well, he posted a picture of the gift to thank him. It was a simple little thing that we gave him because he was so inspiring. And he posted a picture of it on Instagram. So find us at Screen Readers, and you can see it there. I was back for being cheeky. And then I'll probably end up posting it in here anyway because we're so excited. But that came in like right after the workshop, and we were so excited because we've been kind of keeping it on the down low because we didn't want, look, all these people talking to ourselves. There's another guy walking by. Because we told him that we weren't going to promote it, but once he's promoting it, then, it doesn't matter. It's all cool. So anyway, it was very, very cool, and we're really excited. So today I'm going to answer some of your questions. We'll dive in. So take a look at Instagram and just stay on our page because I'm sure I'll post it later today because I'm just a little bit giddy about it all. And it's just, he was so amazing, and it's so validating, and it was so great for our screen readers, and we're really happy. So cool. No, it's 4,000 now. It's up to 4,000. So not that I've been trolling or anything. So we have Ariana. She asked, how does a reader communicate from out of state? very good question. So that's been one of the main questions: is really, can I really do this so I don't live in LA? Because that is a definite 4,000 likes. That is a definite myth these days. Actually, some directors don't even live in LA anymore. It's becoming, because communication like this is so easy. So the ways that we communicate, our FaceTime is free, easy, Skype, but there's a lot of tools. There's Google Hangouts. There's tools now that are coming out, Easy Webinar, like what we do our workshops on, and then we do these same kind of sessions with our paid course. We have private, where we dive really deep and we help people with their individual careers and stuff. And we do that on a platform called Zoom. And that's where everyone can see each other. You can have a full-on meeting. We have like 10, 15 people that come in. And even I've been on ones that have even more than that. You can have 50, 100 people that are in this meeting. And so people can make comments. And we're doing that with our screen readers so that we can get you guys. Doug, it was supposed to be a surprise. Who it is. He's a little excited too. So on Zoom you can see each other, and we're doing this with our the people in the paid course because we want you to get used to what it's like to do this, because it's nerve-wracking. It's still nerve-wracking to me, to be perfectly frank. It's nerve-wracking, and it's, you get so self-conscious, and it's like, it can be really, these were my first ones. If you scroll down the Hollywood Gatekeepers page, you see me, hey Gatekeepers. So it is like, it takes a while to get used to how to do it. So, but it's very feasible. So it's very feasible as a reader, especially, that you can do this from out of state. You can, I live in LA and have worked and lived in both in LA and Orange County, and there were still people that I didn't ever meet because we communicated via email, even though I did live there. And as a matter of fact, there was one time, I've told the stories before, so some of you may have heard this, but I was in a coffee shop or like a hangout, and I was with a group of friends, and there was someone that had their back to me, and they had a really thick German accent, and I worked for one of the companies I read for was a German company, and he had this really thick accent, and he was talking, and then some of the things that kind of, I wasn't really listening, but every once in a while I would hear like something, and I'd be like, he'd be talking like about a script I'm reading or whatever, and I'd just be like, wait a minute, and then so I then totally started eavesdropping, and realized that this guy was my story editor that I had worked for, or with, however you want to put it, for years, like 5 years. So I totally turned around, I was like, and I said, and this is so classic, is your name Johannes? And he was like, it's Johannes. I didn't know that because I'd only seen it in print. And I was like, I'm Carolyn Carpenter. It was so hilarious. We were like, oh my God. So yeah, and that was me actually living here. Hey, Peggy. So never mind that last post. You didn't see the man behind the curtain. Nobody saw that it was Paul Haggis podcast, who wrote Crash and $1 Million Baby. Just, FYI. So yeah, so that's basically how you do it. So it is very, very feasible. And production companies are moving out of LA. Tyler Perry, who does all the Medea movies, who I love him. I think he's amazing. He's in Atlanta. His production company is Atlanta. Atlanta is becoming a real hub. A lot of companies have moved to Canada. And a lot of directors live in out of state, and then they come in to wherever to film, which is sometimes Canada, and sometimes I'm near an airport. Sorry if that's really loud. So yeah, that kind of, hopefully that answers your question, Ariana. And then we have Kyler, who asks, can I learn fast? Love that. I don't know. Can you? I don't know. A lot of people ask that. How quickly can I do this? How fast can I go? How soon will it take? How much time will I have to spend reading for free? When can I be, the king of the world? I'm sorry, can't answer that. What I can say is that it's such an individual thing, and that's why, and you'll see, and Doug's really great people. He's in the Facebook group a little more than I am, answering people's questions, and it used to be a thing in Wilmington. People they just continue to ask kind of questions that are so individual. There are as many people as there are that many paths into, this journey and to what you want to do with it. We don't know the path you're wanting to take. We don't know if you're wanting to be a reader forever. We don't know if you're wanting to use the reader as a stepping stone to something else. We don't know your personal story. We don't know how long it takes you to read. We don't know things about you. So that's a really hard question to learn. It would be like saying, how long would it take you to learn how to play baseball as opposed to, your mother, as opposed to me. It's like, it's so individual. That's really hard. What we do know is that we give you every tool in our arsenal. I mean, every tool. We are giving you our experiences. We are giving you technical tools, platforms, ways, to make things easier. We are really trying to give everyone the freaking golden bullet ticket way to get as fast as you can. It's like to really, jump on the speed train. However, a lot of people, and I refer to the paid courses because it's just an easy way to kind of give examples. They'll join and then they'll decide, oh, I'm going to go do this project, and then they'll come back to it. And some of them are doing it, here and there. And so it's a very, very individual. It is whatever you make of it. I believe that a bajillion%. A bajillion. Everything is like that to me. But it is what you make of it. But it took me a while, but once I figured it out, then I just kind of like, oh, okay, here, let me try that. Thank you, Ramona, and welcome. New screen reader, yippee. So hopefully that helps. But it took me a while to figure it out, but once I figured it out, it was like just shooting up the ranks. So I'm trying to eliminate all that, the floundering that I had early on. So that's what we're here for, is to eliminate kind of the steps that are the things that do take a long time, and trying to get you past those in a much shorter time period. So it's months rather than years that you're then working and figuring things out. Yay! Thanks for the feedback. Okay. So Melody asked, and we get this question a lot, is this like voiceover work? And for the longest time I have been like, why are people thinking that we're doing voiceover? And then suddenly it was like, oh, reading, because they think we're reading scripts like out loud. No, this is not voiceover work. This is reading. Being a reader is reading screenplays, writing a coverage, which is kind of like a book report, and giving that coverage to the person who asked you to read the screenplay. So this is not a voiceover thing. So now I know that I can just answer that question, because I was always like, what the heck? But now it makes sense. So that was an easy one. But we actually get that question a lot, so I want to make sure and answer it. Regina asks, I like this, are script readers' input actually incorporated? So that's a really good question, Regina. Yes and no. When you very first write your coverage, so someone, especially when you're new, and someone asks you to do a coverage, and you write a coverage, your book report, and basically you are summarizing what the script is about, and then you are writing all the things that are great about it, no matter how bad it is. Especially if you're working with us, we really want to pick out those good things, and then all the things that are bad, or not bad, but need work. And then, hi Lisa. And then, we are a little enthusiastic around here. And then they're mostly looking at that just to see if they want to take the next step. So when you very first start with a project, even after you've been reading for a while, actually, if it's a new writer, or there's so many, like I said, there's so many different scenarios. But at first, they're just looking at that coverage to say, you've rated it. There's a score sheet. You say if it's pass, consider, or recommend. They're looking at kind of the overview just to see if, is this a script I want to read, or do I want to take the next step? Once you're reading with someone for a long time and they really trust you, sometimes they'll take your coverage and then they own it and they call the writer and say, here's the problems, and give it right to the writer. It really kind of depends project by project. In general, they're always taking your basic advice. Whether or not if you say you should cut this character and then they cut that character, boy, that's really, there's so bajillion different, I use bajillion a lot because there's a bajillion ways to do that. So very often they will be, there'll be more than one person that's working on the project, and it's sort of a consensus of the things that need to change. And then you've got writers that, are married to certain things and don't want to change stuff. And then sometimes, especially after you work with someone for a while, you'll read a script, you'll give your coverage, they'll go make changes, you get the script back, you do a coverage, you get this cycle going. And when that happens, absolutely, they start really taking in what your suggestions are, and that's when it gets really fun. And every great once in a while, you're working with especially if you're working with a production company that just churns out a ton of material. A lot of companies also turn out, especially now with the television, and it is the golden age of television right now. There's so much content. So as people try different things, they might have a bunch of scripts where they're just trying different writers, and it's all kind of up in the air, and they're just trying a bunch of stuff. That's a time when, if you're working with someone a lot, you might get some writing gigs out of it, because they might say, this project, why don't you take a stab at it? And that's happened to me many times. So that's a possibility as well. So so yes and no. There's both. Sometimes they don't incorporate. Sometimes they just look at your coverage and they go, okay, we're moving on. Or if it's a pass and you really hated it, they'll just be like, okay, we're not moving on with this. So you don't necessarily incorporate your comments. Airplane. And airplane. There's more news about that, but I can't tell it yet. And then also, when you start working, if you really like the process of people taking your notes, then I highly recommend you look into being a writing consultant, where you're working with writers as opposed to production teams. So we cover that as well. So that's like a whole nother field that you can go into, where you're just working with a writer to get their script ready to be submitted, as opposed to working with a production or what's known as development. Development is all the things that happen before you start shooting a movie. So getting the script ready, getting it cast, all of that stuff is called development. And then once you're on the set and you're shooting, that's called production. So in the development phases of everything, you'll be going back and forth quite a bit. So that was kind of a long-winded answer. Sorry. Okay, and then the last one from Carol are, what are the common mistakes that readers make? And that's a really good question. And I wouldn't, there aren't any mistakes. I know that sounds weird. Like, I wouldn't really focus on the mistakes that you can make as a reader, because it's all just a learning process. The only huge mistake that a reader can make is not being nice, in my opinion. That is the only, because that's totally in your control, and you need to be nice, and you need to take the high road, and you need to not worry about if someone's mad at you or doesn't like you or whatever. So that's the only mistake, because that hurts you. But even that, to me, there's not mistakes, there's just learning. It's like when you trip up, and we make mistakes all the time. If you look at it, I never really look at it like that. So, and for instance, we have this course, and our readers are so patient, because we're constantly putting new material in, and sometimes things get a little bit wazzy, and so we kind of go, oh, we probably shouldn't have done it that way. But that's not a mistake. That's like, oh, we shouldn't have done it that way, let's do it this way. You have to trip up in order to take the next step forward. So, if you, and I love this analogy, but I was taking a class the other day. I learned a lot too, because I try to pass all the things that we're learning about being an online business onto you to help you as a consultant, and to help you know, yes, between constructive criticism, exactly. And Peggy's really good at constructive criticism, and she's got a great sense of humor. She's one of our screen readers. Yay. So they gave this analogy of, if you see a child that's learning to walk and it keeps falling down, do you say, oh, stop it, you're making all these mistakes? No, you just go, you'll get it, hang in there, airplane, freeze. Okay, so I'm a dancer. I came from a dance background, and I used to dance in San Diego, and in an open-air theater called it's the Civic Light Opera there, and every time a plane would go by, we'd have to freeze. I'm not joking. And if it was during a musical number, you'd watch the conductor, and he would make you freeze. So I'm just going to freeze when the airplanes go by, because I have a lot of experience doing that. I did it for many, many, many years. Anyway, that was totally a Pavlovian moment of airplane. Okay, anyway. So it isn't mistakes. It's like you're tripping into, you're tripping into life, and you're tripping into the next thing, and it's like, oh yeah, that didn't work. Okay, so let's try this. And the more that you can do that, for one, life is way more fun, and things roll off you a little more. It's like, kind of water off your back. You just kind of go, oh, oops. Yeah. And Doug and I had one of those yesterday, where we looked at each other and went, oops. And it's like, I don't want, anyone we want to make this as smooth and easy for everyone. So I always feel bad if something I've done has made it difficult for somebody else. That's never my intention. So we always, but we go, oh shoot, yeah, let's try to make this better for everybody. So that's always our intention. So I just kind of and I saw that question come up, and it was like, oh, this is kind of a good time to talk about that, where, and the screen readers know we've made some mistakes. Well, I won't go on too many stories, but we went down a whole tangent of, when we were doing this interview with Paul Haggis, we wanted to make sure that we did it, on a platform that he was familiar with. So we spent a whole session trying to figure out a platform that we thought would work, and then it didn't work. And then he was wonderful and did a different platform for us. So, but we wanted to, one, go the extra mile and try to make it work in the way that he needed, and these screen readers sat there for an hour with me going, can you hear me? How about now? Can you see? What about, I was like, right, Peggy? She's a problem solver. And so she was right there in there with us, like trying to figure it out. So, but that, to me, that wasn't a mistake. I mean, it was a mistake because we baffled, and it was like, ugh, and I feel bad if anybody left that going, okay, I just wasted an hour of my life. We definitely don't want to do that. However, I really feel like there was some bonding that happened, and it got us to the next level. And we also got to demonstrate that we tried really hard to accommodate someone as opposed to just, kind of shove our way forward. So anywho, so to me, for one, yeah, we never did figure it out. And honestly, we were on the platform's support and they couldn't figure it out. So yeah, anywho, so that was a learning. We're not going to use that platform anymore, even though now I can't get it off my desktop. But okay, moving on. And, we've had many trip ups and some really horrifying stories where it's like you think, oh, wow, we have to overcome this, where we send people links that are just terrible, and we do our best. We really do want to keep everyone happy, but at the same time, you realize your limitations, and at the same time you have to stick to your guns. You can't be like just, oh, if this person says we need to change this, we're going to change everything. You have to know your focus and know where you're headed, and then do your very, very utmost best to play nice, to accommodate people, to listen, to solve problems, to just be there for people. And if you have that exchange and you're going back and forth, it's not mistakes, it's everybody learning together. And if someone gets upset with you and doesn't want to deal with that, then it's better that they move on to something else anyway, because they're not happy, you're not happy, and let's move forward. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So those were our 5 questions for today. We're super excited. So yeah, Doug let Paul out of the bag. So go over to look at Paul Haggis's Instagram, and we'll post it here later too. But he told this beautiful story a few times about people telling him how. Do you like this scenario? This setup? It's like a retainer. I'm like a total goonie right now. So I just realized, I wasn't even thinking about what that might look like. I get so into what I'm saying. And this is another mistake, is that you'll see I still am figuring out my lighting and my framing and everything, because I'm so passionate about giving the content that I forget about what I look like. Sorry. Yeah, what are you going to do? Someday it'll be super glamorous. Any minute now. And that's a joke of mine anyway. Show business is so not glamorous. I can't even tell you how many times I've been on sets and whatever, and everybody's sweating and gross, and we're all like, it's the movie business. Anyway, so totally lost my train of thought there. But anyway, Paul was just told some really great stories about how people kept saying to him, really great script, Paul, it'll never sell. And then he went on to sell them anyway. So we got him a coffee mug with that saying on it, and he liked it apparently, because he posted about it. It was so great. It just is super fun. It just makes it's all good. It's all good. So we're really happy. So it is a phone bridle. Okay. Uh-oh. Warning. Every once in a while I get out of control with laughing. Sometimes Doug's like, I can't understand you. You need to take a breath. Okay. Anywho, I'm going to get a hold of myself. Part of this comes from doing the Can at Knott's Berry Farm for years and years, where you do the same show 6 times. Oh, airplane. Where you do the same show 6 times a day, and so then you start messing around. Anywho. So we will be back tomorrow at noon. And thank goodness there isn't a bit. That would not be good. I hate that. Anyway, I love horses. So, who knew, right? Take a breath. I will be back tomorrow at noon with 5 more of your questions. If you have more questions, let us know. And then Saturday, we'll put the link up. So we have another workshop on Saturday, noon on Saturday, and then we'll be back on Monday. Woohoo! You're going to be so sick of me. You're going to be like, oh my God, there she is again. So, back tomorrow, noon Pacific, California time. California shades. All right. We will talk to you guys soon. So great. Having a such a fun time with all of this. And we will see you tomorrow. Bye.